Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Brian Thomas on Brian Thomas and Alex Lee Clark Big Band.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, so I think the big band is how I originally came to know of your work because the sound to me is just like infectious, but also very unique. How would you describe what you all do in the big band?
Well, the big band is a funny instrument, because from sixth grade until you get your doctorate, if you're studying music that long, you're playing in a big band in a jazz ensemble in that setting. It kind of has developed into this very academic ensemble. But when you think of the origins of it, big band with Duke Ellington and Count Basie, it was about dancing, and it wasn't really an academic experiment. It was a party, and so Alex Lee Clark, my partner with that project, and I, that's kind of our mission, is to bring that instrument of the big band and play modern, contemporary, new music with it, with just that instrumentation of 5 saxophones, 4 trombones, 4 trumpets, and rhythm section, and kind of bring it into the modern age. Because it's such a beautiful thing, and because of really what killed the big bands into the 40s and the 50s was just financial concerns. They couldn't pay the bands, big bands. So even Duke Ellington stripped down his band, and Count Basie stripped down his band, and they all did. And jazz kind of changed into smaller groups. We're trying to keep it going. It is a labor of love for sure. I won't say it's the most lucrative project we've all been a part of, but because all these horn players, especially, they played in big bands, like I said, from sixth grade until they stopped studying in school. Everyone's always down to do the gig. We really get the greatest players in New England, and everyone, is just happy to be there, vibing off each other, listening to each other's solos, playing as a section. And, it's one of the few times you can be with all your friends that play horns all in the same place at the same time, which is pretty epic.
Do you like to road test things first? Do you get it tight so you walk in the studio and hit it once, or do you like to go in the studio and see where it goes? Maybe it gets rearranged.
Yeah, well, it kind of depends on the project, and every project's a little bit different. I feel for the big band, we usually, play them quite a bit before we record anything, and workshop them. It's I think back to Duke Ellington had a residency at the Cotton Club, right? And so Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn, they could write these arrangements, and they could hear what it sounded like live, and then they could go back and fix it and like change things and alter it. So I feel like with Alex and I do that often with the big band for sure. And then for my stuff, the On the Bone record, that we had workshopped some of that stuff for sure. The duochrome record, that was just, here's the music and just go. So I guess it kind of depends on the situation and how it all, and the band, and how it worked out. But it is nice when you can workshop it, because we've all been in situations where you recorded it one way, and then it evolves when you're after some time of playing the tunes, and you're like, oh man, I wish we would have recorded it that way. But I think it could work either way. And really a recording, especially for what we do with jazz and jam band and funk, and for a lot of the stuff, maybe not so much reggae, because that's more songs and songwriting. But for a lot of the other stuff, it is about the moment, right? It is about the environment. It's supposed to be improvisatory, and with my compositions and my arrangements, even with the big band, I like to make sure that there's room for magic to happen, and if you have the right musicians and you have the right people around each other, and everyone trusts each other and everyone's listening, even with a 20-piece, 18-piece band, you can pull that off. And that's the magic, right? That's why the same people will come to the show every week, like, or we do residencies, and the same people will come back because they know it's not going to be the same thing as it was the week before. And if you allow for that space, it allows the music to evolve. And so the recordings it's okay if they're that's just a capture. That's what it was on that day. And that's okay. It's like a picture. You take a snapshot of it, and that's what it is, and you can appreciate it and enjoy it. But you can also know that it's okay to let that music go someplace else too, if that's where it leads you.
What do you have coming up? Projects? Anything going on that like you're especially stoked about that you'd want to share? Anything we can help promote?
Yeah, well, like, all the BT ALC stuff, is really great just because, we're fresh off just releasing a record. And so all that touring is or it's not really touring, it's all pretty much regional stuff. It's, really supporting the new record, and the new record, Carl's on the new record along with, the Soul Live guys, Eric and Al are on it, and Deitch. We did one of Adam Deitch's tunes, arranged for Big Band, and Nigel sings on it. And G Love did a track. I kind of been working with G Love over the pandemic a bunch because he's actually a New England guy, but the special sauce was all up. So we formed a new band, The Juice, during the pandemic, which was instead of a trio, it was like a big epic thing, and we would do like those drive-in movie theater shows and all that kind of stuff. So he did a track on the record, which was great. So the Big Band, we're really stoked about that. A couple fun shows. We'll be playing Levitate in a couple of weeks with the Elevators, who's kind of like a Cali Roots sort of a band out of here, but they're blowing up all over the place now, which is great. That's at Levitate Festival, which is in Massachusetts. And then, just like I said, a lot of my own things. We're doing the Jam Bass 25th anniversary weekend. So Jennifer Hartswick's going to join the Big Band for a night, which will be great. So we'll have to figure out. We got to figure out some things for her to sing, as well as play with us. So that's coming up August 17th, I want to say 18th, something like that.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I didn't know too much about that, but somebody had mentioned it recently, and it looks like that's going to be amazing, and that's in Boston.
Right. Yeah. So Dave, the guy who runs Jam Bass, was out on the West Coast for a while, but he has roots here in Boston, so he moved back here. So they've been producing these weekend shows. I think the Slip did one, and Neighbor did one, and this one for the 25th anniversary, we're doing the kickoff night with Jen Hartswick, and then I think Club Delph is doing the next night, and then they're doing Humphreys McGee at Soundcheck Studios, which is crazy because that's it's not small, it's like 500-600 people, but for Humphreys, that's pretty small, so hopefully people got tickets to that, because that's going to be a nice little weekend, so we're happy to be kicking it off with Jen Hartswick for sure. Yeah.
Good reason to go to Boston in August.
Yeah, come on out.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.